For years, gardeners have relied on modern mulch, rubber, plastic, dyed bark, and even synthetic mats to control weeds, retain moisture, and boost soil health. I tried them all. Some looked impressive at first glance, others promised moisture retention, yet every one of them fell short in the long run. Then I rediscovered an ancient method, a cover crop and soil blanket used by farmers for centuries, that outperformed every modern option in every category I tested. It wasn't just about keeping weeds down or holding water. It improved soil structure, fed microbes, protected against frost, and even enhanced plant growth. I realized immediately why traditional farmers swore by it. This wasn't a gimmick. It was time-tested, field-proven, and incredibly effective. For the next minute, consider what past civilizations faced: harsh winters, unpredictable rainfall, and soils that had been cultivated for generations. They didn't have synthetic fabrics or mulch pellets. They had to rely on what nature provided, and they perfected it. Once I applied this ancient cover to my garden beds, the results were dramatic. Soil that had hardened over years became loose and sponge-like. Microbial activity skyrocketed. Water absorption became steady rather than erratic. And best of all, my plants responded with growth I hadn't seen when using modern mulches. The reason ancient mulch outperforms modern alternatives lies in its biological activity. Unlike plastic or rubber mulches, which act purely as barriers, ancient mulches are living or semi-living material. They contain organic matter that decomposes slowly, feeding soil microbes, enhancing structure, and releasing nutrients directly into the root zone. Modern mulches may retain moisture and suppress weeds temporarily, but they contribute little to long-term soil health. When I applied the ancient cover, which included materials like shredded straw, partially decomposed leaves, and specific cover crops harvested at the right stage, the difference was immediately noticeable. Water penetrated deeply without pooling. Roots grew freely into friable soil, and even nutrient-poor areas began to recover. Historical farming records from Europe, Asia, and the Americas repeatedly emphasize the same principle. Mulching was as much about feeding the soil as protecting it. In early Chinese terraced farms, farmers used a mix of straw and chopped legumes to cover fields after harvest. In medieval European orchards, layers of leaves combined with green manure were applied annually. Modern gardening manuals rarely capture this, but the results are undeniable when recreated correctly. Applying ancient mulch correctly requires, understanding both layering and timing. One reason modern gardeners often fail with organic mulch is, improper application. Too thick, and it can actually suffocate the soil or promote mold. Too thin, and it just won't retain moisture or suppress weeds. Ancient methods, they were really quite precise. A top layer provided protection and moisture retention, while an underlying layer added nutrients and supported microbial growth. When I applied this technique myself, I first prepared the bed by loosening the soil just a bit, then laid a base of partially decomposed plant matter, followed by a lighter, fresher layer on top. The combination ensured, moisture penetration, good airflow, and a slow release of nutrients. Within just a few weeks, the soil beneath the mulch had this soft, crumbly texture that honestly outperformed my beds covered with commercial products. For container or raised bed gardeners, the principle is, pretty much the same. Use a base layer of composted straw or chopped cover crops, then add a lighter layer of leaves or straw on top. Water lightly to activate those microbes and, if possible, avoid disturbing the layering during the growing season. This really does mimic the natural decay process, exactly as historical farmers intended. The ancient cover also enhances soil structure and fertility over time. Unlike inert modern mulches, this method actively changes soil density and composition. The decomposing organic matter feeds fungi, bacteria, and earthworms, which work together to break down particles and increase porosity. Over the course of a season, beds that were previously compacted became, fluffy, retained water evenly, and supported vigorous plant growth. Historical records describe similar observations. Roman farmers applied layers of straw and manure around fruit trees, noting improvements in root expansion and fruit yield year after year. My modern replication confirmed the same results. Plants grew faster, leaves were darker, and harvests were consistently larger. Ancient mulch also provides natural pest and disease control. Modern mulches often attract unwanted insects or trap moisture against plant stems, creating fungal problems. The ancient cover, when composed correctly, protects against both. Decomposing layers harbour beneficial insects, fungi, and bacteria that compete with pathogens. The slight microbial activity in the mulch acts as a living shield, suppressing disease and preventing outbreaks before they start. In my gardens, beds covered this way experience fewer fungal issues and healthier seedlings than those using plastic or dyed bark mulch. You can adapt ancient mulch for year-round gardening. Whether growing in open fields, raised beds or containers, the principle remains consistent. Use partially decomposed organic matter as a foundation. Add a fresh top layer for protection and water lightly. Refresh the top layer as needed, particularly after heavy rains or during extended dry periods. By replicating these historical methods, you create a self-sustaining cycle that improves the soil, suppresses weeds, retains moisture, and encourages healthy microbial life, all while supporting plant growth in ways that modern mulches simply cannot. If this guide helped you understand why ancient mulching methods outperform modern options in every category, subscribe to Farm Logic for more practical, history-backed gardening strategies. Share this video with fellow growers and history enthusiasts who want soil that thrives naturally and gardens that outperform modern expectations.